Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this day 2 of Lean Six Sigma Black Belt Hackathon. Okay, so let's quickly start with our a recap, and everybody must be aware of one rule which I always say. The rule is 86-14 rule. How many of you are aware of this rule? Just give me yes in the chat box. How many of you are aware of 86-14 rule? Type yes in the chat box if you are aware of this. Okay, some of you are aware 86-40 now? 86-14, not 80-20. Okay, some new people might be a little confused that what is 86-14? Okay, we have learnt about 80-20 principle, which is Pareto principle. What is 86-14? 86-14 is a rule of memory. Okay, this rule of memory says whatever we learn, whatever we study, whatever we read, whatever we comprehend, 86% of it gets vanished in the same day itself. Only 14% remains. What does it mean? It means whatever we have learned yesterday, only 14, now 14 is the average, okay? Only 14% would have remained. That's why we always start with the recap, okay? Can we just quickly do the recap of the day one, whatever topics we have covered? Okay, let's quickly recap on those topics. Type in the chat box quickly. All right, and let's start from there. We will start the journey to the day 2. All right, chalo, fatafat. Now recap is not done by the trainer, okay? Recap has to be done by you guys. So you can randomly type the topics which we have covered yesterday. You can refer your notes. You can refer your yesterday's, or you can refer your memory. See, you can go with any sequence, by the way. CLT. So you can just type CLT. CLT is central limit theorem. So we started with CLT, central limit theorem, correct? Yes. And what? GRR. Very good. So MSA we have also done. Yes. So CPCPK or Z score. We have seen that Z score. We discussed a little CPCPK. AAA. GRR is gauge R and R. When we have continuous data, we go gauge R and R. And if we have the discrete data, which is attribute data, then we go for attribute agreement analysis. Okay, that's what we have seen. We have done the practical stuff, how to, create the worksheet for that, how to collect the data, how to analyze the data, how to find the GRR value. Okay, so GRR percentage contribution, GRR percentage tolerance, and the NDC value, right? Number of distinct categories. Okay, so all those things. And in the attribute agreement analysis, we check the kappa value, fleece kappa value. Yes. Okay, after that, after that, what we have seen? Type in the chat box. और क्या क्या देखा था कल डे 1 में? बोलिए बोलिए. Yes, transformation, non-normal distributions, normality check. Remember? You remember normality check? Anderson-Darling AD test. How many of you remember? Just give me yes. You remember, na? You've forgotten. Last time somebody wrote that, sir, that rule must not be 86-40. It must be 96-4 because we have forgotten 96%. Log converge, exactly. So yesterday we have seen central limit theorem in the beginning. Okay, so whenever we come across non-normal data or a skewed distribution, okay, so what we discussed yesterday, increase the sample size first. We increase the sample size first, even if it is not getting normalized or it is not getting the normal distribution, then we go for transformation. Okay, and we learned yesterday Box-Cox transformation, right? Yesterday, Box-Cox transformation. Correct. Now, in the non-normal data, the p-value is less than 0.05. For Anderson-Darling normality test, AD test में, if the p-value is less than 0.05, that is a non-normal data. Okay. So we have to do the transformation and check the p-value. If the p-value is, greater than 0.05, that means the data is normal, and then we can do the process capability analysis. Okay. So what is the procedure for this box-Cox transformation? So we select box-Cox transformation, which is stat control chart box-Cox transformation. We put the data into that, and then the software will tell us one value. What is that value? Can you tell me? In the box-Cox transformation, we check one value. What is that value? Yesterday I spoke about it, and then I display a table with you. What is that value? Type in the chat box, everybody. Yeah, rounded value, but that rounded value was, there is a name of that value. It is again a Greek letter. How many of you remember? It is a lambda value. Lambda. Remember a lambda value. So in the box-Cox transformation, we get a lambda value. Okay. And on the basis of lambda value, okay, because the lambda value was 0 in that case, so I showed you a table, if you remember, correct? If the lambda value is 0, then we should go for log transformation, right? So we converted the data into log data, and I explain you the procedure, right? Go to calculator and let's do this procedure. And once we converted the data, then we did the capability analysis. Clear, everybody? So that's what we covered yesterday. Kuch yaad aaya? Yes, no? Correct? So this is what basically the advanced statistics we cover in our black belt curriculum. Okay, in the major phase. Now, today we will go into the next phase, which is nothing but analyze phase. Okay, in the analysis phase, basically, if you see the differentiating factors. Okay, now in the analysis phase also, we use fishbone analysis, we use YY analysis, we use FMEA, okay, we use hypothesis testing, regression, etc. Okay, so the logical sequence of analyze phase is this. Everybody make a note of this. So in the analyze phase, first we do fishbone, which is nothing but identifying primary causes. Then we do YY analysis or root cause analysis, RCA, to identify the root causes. All right. After that, we do validation of the root causes. And this validation is done with the help of hypothesis testing, regression, etc. Okay. So this is what we learn in the green belt level as well. Now in the black belt level, the sequence remains same. Only thing is that we will learn hypothesis testing advanced, which is advanced hypothesis testing, like pair t-test, ANOVA, chi-square test, F-ratio test, test of equal variances, etc. So advanced hypothesis testing we will learn, and we will see advanced regression. Simple linear regression model we learn in the green belt level. In this black belt level, we will learn curvilinear regression model, which is cubic model and quadratic model we will learn. Plus, we will learn how we can do multiple regression. When we have one y and multiple x's, how that can be done. That is something advanced regression we will check. Plus, tomorrow we will cover a topic which is called as design of experimentation. That we will cover completely tomorrow. So tomorrow will be dedicated for design of experimentation. Clear? So fishbone, RCA, even FMEA also. So FMEA also you can add here. Over here, you can add FMEA. FMEA also is there, which is covered in the green belt level. So fishbone, FMEA, RCA, root cause analysis. This is covered, and the basic hypothesis, basic regression, and basic DOE, not DOE. Okay, basic hypothesis, basic regression. It's covered in the green belt level. And in the black belt level, we are going to cover advanced hypothesis, advanced regression, and design of experimentation. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. So we'll directly jump to the advanced hypothesis testing today. Clear, everybody? Because it's the black belt hackathon, so we are covering the black belt topics. Okay. Yes. So last week we covered in the live session. Last week we covered how to calculate the p-value manually. How many of you were present in that session? Type in the chat box. How many of you were present for that particular session? Just type me in the chat box if you were there. Okay, some of you were there. Okay. Now, a lot of people would have missed that session. So, yeah. Let me quickly show you. Let me give you the link in the chat. And I would highly recommend you guys, the people who missed that session, I'm just giving you the link in the chat. Okay, look at this. This is the chat I'm giving. This is the recording of the session, which is available in the masterclass archive. Okay, I'll show you. I'll share my screen as well. Please have a look at this. Okay, so the name of the topic was hypothesis tests and p-value decoded. It was done on 23rd of March 25. Okay, you can see here. And this link I have just posted over there. Okay, if you have missed the session, please check out the recording of that. It's very, very valuable. We have covered the the basics of hypothesis plus how the p-value basically is calculated. All right. So what we'll do right now is what is hypothesis testing? It is statement of assumption. Let me just quickly cover the basics of that. And then I will give you another test today where we can use the manual calculation of p-value. Okay. Now, hypothesis testing meaning hypothesis is nothing but statement of assumption, right? Statement of assumption. Correct? Now we have two types of hypothesis. What are the two types of hypothesis? Type in the chat box. What are the two types of hypothesis here? Everybody. Null hypothesis, exactly. Null hypothesis, and the second is alternate hypothesis. Absolutely right. Correct? So one is null hypothesis, other is alternate hypothesis. So null is statement of equality, which will say that x, let's say x a bar is equal to x b bar. So the null hypothesis will say average of first is equal to average of second. And alternate will say x a bar is not equal to x b bar. Alternate will say no, they are not equal. So we'll collect the data, we'll put that data in the Minitab, and we will check a value called p-value, which we have discussed, right? And if the p-value is less than 0.05, then we reject null hypothesis. Correct? Yes? Oh, I see. Okay, okay. Thank you very much for confirmation. I just... okay. Now you can see this, right? Okay. Yes. So hypothesis, statement of assumption. There are two hypotheses we have seen, null and alternate. Null hypothesis, statement of equality, which says average of A and average of B are equal. Alternate will say average of A is not equal to average of B. Now, it is very simple that if we collect the data, All right. So um, now when we collect the data and we check the average of A and average of B. So the first question is, if it is clearly evident that the average of A and average of B, maybe there is some difference. So why do we use hypothesis testing? See, hypothesis testing is a very important testing. This is about inferential statistics. This is about inferential statistics. Inferential statistics meaning we are predicting about the population behavior. From the sample behavior, we are predicting the behavior of the population. And that is called inferential statistics. So from this sample, basically through the hypothesis testing, what we are checking saying is, even though there might be a small difference, but is that difference statistically significant enough? That is what we check with the help of hypothesis testing. Okay, are you clear with this? So we are not checking the mathematical difference here. We are checking whether the difference, with whether it is small difference in the averages, whether the difference is statistically significant for the population in the long run. Are you clear with this point? Just tell me yes in the chat box. And this is the main objective of hypothesis testing. Clear, hai? So it is not mathematical checking we are doing a statistical checking. Okay. So the rhyming is very simple. P low, null go. If you remember this rhyming, okay, so P value is less than 0.05, reject null hypothesis. Okay. So in the green belt level, we basically have covered one sample t-test. Now, what is one sample t-test? If you want to compare one sample with the standard, that is called one sample t-test. And if you want to compare two samples with each other, that is called two sample t-test. Okay. For example, if I have vendor A and vendor B, and I want to check the averages of both the vendor, and I want to check this hypothesis, it will be called as two sample t-test. So this will be two sample t-test. Okay. And if I want to compare one vendor's performance with the standard set by the company, that will be called as one sample t-test, because one sample is compared with your standard. That is called one sample t-test. And this is already covered in your Greenbelt curriculum. Yes, the people who have been through the Greenbelt curriculum, have we been through this Greenbelt? One sample t-test and two sample t-test, just type yes in the chat box. Everybody is with me? Have we covered this? Yes, no? Very good, very good. Super. Now let's jump to the next one, which is called paired t-test. I'm just giving you one. I'm just giving you one document here, which is the Minitab file. Just click on that file and open that file. The name of the file is paired t-test. Once you open that, let me know. I will explain you what is this test all about and when to use this paired t-test. Then we will see what are the practical applications of this. Have you opened this file? Just give me yes in the chat box. Which says specimen, old analyzer, and a new analyzer. The name of the file is paired t-test. .mtw. MTW stands for Minitab worksheet. Clear? Have you opened this file? If you are in the position to open, if you're traveling, it's okay. You can just observe what is happening. Yeah, just give me confirmation. Few more people. Thank you, Divakarji, for the confirmation. Rest of the people, I'm waiting for you. Then we can start. Okay. Meanwhile, one two sample t-test is to compare two distinguished or different entities, different vendors. Okay, different categories. Now, when do we use paired t-test? The name is paired. What is pair? For example, in this case, there is a blood sample analyzer example. There is an old analyzer in a pathology lab and there is a new analyzer. What they have done, they have taken first sample. So specimen number 1, this one. Okay. In this specimen, the same blood sample, it checked in old analyzer and the same blood sample is checked in the new analyzer. Understand this? The sample is common. The main difference here is the sample is common. The same sample is taken in the old analyzer. The same sample is taken in the new analyzer and they have checked it. Okay. So in the two sample t-test, what we do, we take the average of this, average of A and average of B. And then we do the hypothesis testing. Here, this is done with the help of pairs. So we are comparing the pairs and paired differences are compared basically here in this paired t-test. Okay. So how do we do the paired t-test? Now, what are the other application? Let's say you have a product and you have old weighing scale and new weighing scale. You will go for paired t-test. The same product, old weighing scale, new weighing scale. Clear? Okay. Another example of paired t-test. Let's say, let me take example of IPL. There is one batsman. Let me take any batsman's name. Let's say Rishabh Pant. So Rishabh Pant under one captain and Rishabh Pant under another captain. That will be a paired t-test. The same batsman, how he is performing with this team and how he is performing with that team. Paired t-test. Are you clear? Just type yes in the chat box. Have you understood the paired t-test ka application? It is the common sample tested into different scenario. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Clear hai? Yes, yes, no, yes. Very good. Super. So standard common sample tested against two different scenarios is called paired t-test. So how do we go about it? The same thing, go to stat, basic statistics, and we have paired t-test below two sample t-test. See, I'm not taking one sample t-test, two sample t-test again, okay? It will be kind of waste of time. We will focus on more on the other tools, right? Okay? Click on paired t-test, stat, basic statistics, paired t-test. Stat, basic statistics, paired t-test. This will come, this window will come. In sample 1, select old analyzer. Sample 2, select new analyzer. And just click on OK. That's it. Don't do anything else. Now here, check the p-value. 0.003. So, what is the null hypothesis here? What is the null hypothesis? Very simple. In a simple word, there is a statistical difference between these two analyzers. Okay, which is the alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis, there is no statistical difference, but the p-value is lower than 0.05. So p low, null go, right? That means because the p-value is lower than 0.05, we have to reject null. And null always say that there is no difference. Both are equal. But in this case, we have to reject the null hypothesis and we have to accept the alternate hypothesis, which is saying that there is a statistically significant difference between the old analyzer and the new analyzer. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Clear hai everybody? Simple. Very good. Let me share with you one table which is already there in your in your black belt curriculum. Okay. Look at this. So here, there are three major types of hypothesis testing we are doing. The first one is called the mean. So if I draw the distribution here, so the central tendency, so the mean will come here, right? The central tendency. The second is the variability. What is the variation in the data? Meaning, what is the variation? So this is the variability basically, right? And there is something called proportion as well. Now, when do we use proportion hypothesis testing? Whenever we want to compare percentage rejection, okay, percentage delivery failures, those kinds of things. Out of 100, how many fail, how many pass? How many students appeared, how many pass, how many fail? So that kind of proportion, if you want to compare two proportions, right? Class 1 and class 2 proportion. How many class 1 students passed and how many class 2 students passed? Okay, that proportion we want to compare. Then we'll go for test of two proportions. And chi-square test is more than 2 if you want to go. So let me explain you this. So in the mean, there is one sample t-test. The first one is called one sample t-test. When do we use one sample t-test? When one sample is tested against the standard. That is called one sample t-test. Second is called two sample t-test. What is two sample t-test? When two samples are compared with each other for the averages. A mean is average, right? If you want to compare the averages of two samples, let's go two sample t-test. What is then the next one is pair t-test. That's what we have just seen. Pair t-test is if one standard sample tested in two different scenario, two different machines, two different shifts. Okay, that is called pair t-test. Then the next one, if you have more than two samples, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 samples, then you go for ANOVA. ANOVA. Okay. Now, when you want to compare the variability, want to compare variability with variability, then there is something called F ratio test. F ratio test meaning you want to compare variability. What is variability? Variability is measured in what? What is the unit of measurement of variability? Type in the chat box. What is the unit of measurement of variability? Type in the chat box. Everybody, I want everybody to respond. You guys are going to become green belt and a black belt certified. So you should understand this. Variability ka variance, standard deviation, and not sigma. Sigma is measure of capability. Write this down. Very important. So sigma is measure of variability. Write this down. Where sigma, which is z value, is measure of capability, process capability. Clear? So variation का क्या है? Standard deviation or sigma or variance. Okay, sigma is for variability, sigma is for capability. Remember this. So when I say 6 sigma, this 6 is actually sigma number and this is sigma number. So it's a sigma-sigma combination. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Clear hai everybody? Just give me yes. So variability ke liye, if you have standard deviation or variance of two groups, you can go for F ratio test. If you have more than two groups, you can go for test of equal variance. Okay, just like ANOVA. Just like ANOVA, we have here test of equal variance. Okay, more than two averages, we go for ANOVA. More than two variations, you go for test of equal variances. Okay, same here in the proportion. If you want to compare two proportions, two groups proportions with each other, go for test of two proportion test. And if you want to compare more than two, okay, like 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, you go for chi-square test. Chi-square test. So we are going to check all this test. Are you clear? Have you understood this overall umbrella of hypothesis testing? Just give me yes in the chat box quickly. And this table is available in your black belt curriculum in hypothesis testing. Okay. See, whatever we are learning, everything with the help of concept, with the help of example, with the help of Minitab screenshots is given in your curriculum. Minitab file for practicing also is given in your curriculum. Okay. So make sure that you utilize all those resources provided to you. All right. So now we have seen one sample, two sample already seen in the green belt level. Pair t-test we have just seen. Now let's check the ANOVA and then we will check the remaining variability and proportion test. Okay. So I'm just sharing the file for ANOVA right now. Okay. Just get this file downloaded quickly. The name of the file is ANOVA. Okay. Just open this file. Just once you open the file, let me know in the chat box. Okay. So let me also. Very good. Now, we have done a very important topic. Let me just share that as well. Very important. Okay. It was done last year, but very interesting, where we decoded entire ANOVA table. I'll give you the link of that recording as well. Okay. This is the link of that recording. Check out this recording. Okay. Just check out this link as well. This is available in the masterclass archive, and this is available. It's a kind of, it's an advanced topic, but I will cover that. Okay, I will cover that. I'll explain you what do I mean. Okay, open kiya, file opened. Just give me yes in the chat box. Once you open the file, let me know open in the chat box. Okay. Very good. Let's try to understand. When do we use ANOVA? ANOVA is used when we have multiple, more than two, more than three groups, and we want to compare the averages of them. Okay. So here, what is the scenario? Let's try to understand this. Okay. So here there is a, let's say, Mercedes-Benz showroom, service center, not showroom, service center. Okay. So they call it at zone 1 service center, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4, zone 5. Let's say in the city of Mumbai, they have got 5 different zones, service centers. All right. Now, they have taken five cars average, which was taken for the standard servicing. Okay. So here, this is the average of the zone 1 cars. All right. For the zone 1 car, they have taken 5 things. So they will take average of zone 1, which will be called as X1 bar. Okay. Then this is zone 2. This is the data they have taken, and they will take the average, which will be X2 bar. Then X3 bar, X4 bar, and X5 bar. Right. So what will be the null hypothesis? Null hypothesis will be X1 bar is equal to X2 bar is equal to X3 bar is equal to X4 bar, etc. This is called null hypothesis. And alternate hypothesis will say, X1 bar is not equal to X2 bar, or at least one in this is not equal to either other X bars. Okay. Either one is different, that means this test has failed. Are you clear? This is called ANOVA. So they want to check whether there any statistical significant difference between the servicing average of all these service centers for Mercedes-Benz. Okay. Now let's do this. Put this in the Minitab software in ANOVA. So go to Stat, go to ANOVA, and select one-way ANOVA. Everybody just follow this procedure. Stat, ANOVA, one way ANOVA. Now here, the response here is nothing but the lead time, and a factor here is a zone. All right. So select response and the zone and say okay. You will get this kind of graph. Everybody with me? I'll just give you again the procedure. Go to stat, ANOVA, one way ANOVA. Okay. Once you select this, click on this. This will appear in the response. Select lead time and the factor is zone, because we want to compare. Is the zone impacting the, the zone's performance impacting the average? Basically, that's what we want to check. Once we click on OK, first we will get this graph. First, let's decode this graph. Okay. So on the x-axis, you have the zones. On the y-axis, the average time for servicing every vehicle. Okay. So in this, what is your observation? Type in the chat box. What are you observing in this graph? What are you observing in this graph? So this is nothing but you have to take this pot. This is the average. This one 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 is the average and this one is the average. What is the observation here? Any specific observation in this graph? Variation in all zone average. Okay. All zone average time is not equal. Okay. What else? Observe very closely. What else? Any specific zone? Any specific zone you are observing? Zone 2. If you observe very closely, now see here, understand this. If you see here, rest of all the zones are almost in the similar kind of wavelength. But zone 2 is completely different. It is taking almost 5.45 hours, whether other are taking on an average 5.3 hours. Are you understanding? So zone 2 is odd man out kind of a situation. So let's see our statistical data. What is our p-value? Go back to our sessions folder. Scroll it up. You will observe. Where is the p-value? This is the p-value, which is 0.018. Is it lower than 0.05? 0.018. Is it lower than 0.05? Type yes, no in the chat box. Everybody. Yes, no? Yes. Absolutely yes. Because it is less than 0.05. P low, null go. So in this case, we have to reject null hypothesis and accept alternate. That means at least one group is different, statistically significant different than the other groups. Okay. So if I draw this diagram, it will be looking like this. Okay. So all the four groups will be like this. Very close. And only one group is like this. Are you understanding? See, if I draw the data on the histogram, it will look like this. Yes or no, everybody? So only zone number 2, this is zone number 2, and these are the rest of the zones. And there is a statistically significant difference. Clear hai? Everybody? Okay. Now this one, this is called as ANOVA table. Can you see here? This entire thing is called as ANOVA table. And the link which I have given you, this link, this session, this is entirely dedicated on ANOVA table. This link. This is available in Masterclass Archive. This is available in Masterclass Archive. I will show you Masterclass Archive को. एक मिनट मैं दिखाता हूं आपको. इसको zoom कर सकते हैं क्या? I don't know कैसे करते हैं. इसको जूम कैसे करेंगे? बट यू हैव योर डेटा ना, यू हैव योर मिनिटैप सॉफ्टवेयर, राइट? इफ यू हैव योर मिनिटैप सॉफ्टवेयर तो उसको ही देखो सिर्फ, बिकॉज इसको मुझे आई डोंट नो इसको जूम कैसे करेंगे, देखना पड़ेगा। आई हैव नॉट चेक इसको जूम कैसे करेंगे। एनीवे, आई विल फिगर इट आउट। आई विल शो यू, I will show you how to check this recording, okay, in the masterclass archive. Okay, now everybody has the access to masterclass archive. Everybody has the access to masterclass archive. Yes, no, everybody. Just type yes, no in the chat box. Yes. Now you go to any, open any recording. On the left hand side, okay, you will find this, this list, and here you can just type here decoding ANOVA table. Just type ANOVA table. You will find this, ANOVA table section which was taken on 11th of May. In this, we have covered in detail, okay, how this ANOVA table is crafted, and manual calculation also you can do. Actually, this was a master black belt level ka session tha ye. Okay, this was master black belt level session where we decoded ANOVA completely for you. What is each and every element? So for example, let's say if I go here, what is, this, what are the different elements like degree of freedom? What is adjusted SS? Okay, which is adjusted sum of square. What is adjusted MS, which is adjusted mean square. And then what is F value? F ratio kya hai? All right. And then we have, so adjusted mean square actually is nothing but this value adjusted sum of square divided by degree of freedom. That is the formula for that. So this is adjusted MS is equal to adjusted sum of square divided by 4. So in that section, we decoded what is sum of square, what is mean square. Okay. So I would highly recommend, guys, please go ahead and check that out. F ratio, F value is nothing but the ratio between this mean square, adjusted mean square, and the second adjusted mean square. Okay. Iska ratio hai this 3.85. And then from the F table, there is a F table. From F table, we calculate the P value. Anyways, we never have to do it manually. Software does it for us. Okay. We have to just check the P value and infer out of it. And this is called ANOVA. Are you clear? Just type yes in the chat box. ANOVA clear hai? Just give me yes. Super clear. Very good. Let's do one thing. Because zone 2 has got some, some extra reading. इसको थोड़ा निकाल के देखते हैं zone 2 को. ठीक है? Zone 2 के reading को, let me just quickly इसको रिमूव करते हैं एंड इसमें डालते हैं. ठीक है? What I've done is I've just removed zone 2. I've just removed zone 2 and just cut pasted the remaining zones over there. That's it. Okay, what I've done, I've actually removed zone 2. Now what we do? Let's do the same thing again. Run the same test again and click on OK. Now see, because zone 2 is removed, only zone 1, zone 3, zone 4 and zone 5 are there. Now let's go back to our, sessions folder, scroll it up and let's check the P value here. Can you see the P value? P value has changed to 0.864. That means right now, in this case, there is no statistical significant difference between zone 1, 3, 4 and 5. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. So I just removed that second wala zone, which was creating trouble. Okay, so when P value is greater than 0.05, we cannot reject null hypothesis. We have to accept null hypothesis. Okay. Fantastic. So this P value, if you remember, how do you visualize P value? P value visualization. Let me help you visualize P value. Let's say, for example, this is distribution 1. And I covered that in the last week section, if you remember. Understand this, okay? Example, if this is my first X bar, let's say X bar A, and this is, let's say, X bar B. Okay. Imagine X bar A is equal to, let's say, 10 and X bar B is equal to 11. I'm just giving you a very raw example. Now, if I collect the data, let's say 30 samples of X bar, A vendor and 30 sample of B vendor, and I put them in the histogram, and histogram will look like this. If I overlap them, this overlapping region is nothing but my P value, which is my area under curve. When the overlapping region is very high, let's say, for example, in this case, P value overlapping region will be, let's say 60%, example, 60%. Okay. That means 60% nothing but 0.600. So the P value will be 0.6, which is greater than 0.05. And that's the reason there is no statistical significant difference. Understand this. When the overlapping region is high, my P value is high. And when P value is high, that means I cannot reject null hypothesis. I have to say that there is no statistical significant difference. Okay. Even though there is a mathematical difference between 10 and 11. Now, in the second scenario, let's say my X bar A is 10. Understand this, huh? And my X bar B is 15. So my one vendor is on an average taking 10 days. My second vendor on an average is taking 15 days. Now the overlapping region has reduced. Now in this case, the overlapping region is, let's say, 3% area under curve. That means 3% is nothing but 0.03, which is lower than 0.05. So I can say that there is a statistical significant difference between my two means. Are you understanding this? How many of you can visualize this? Just type yes, no in the chat box. Very simple. This is called, you can visualize the P value as well. Clear? Now, how do we calculate this? We can manually also calculate this. With the help of Minitab also we can calculate this. Okay? Clear hai? Super clear? Very good. Yes? So, pair t-test and ANOVA we have covered. Let's move to, yeah. What do you want me to repeat, Madhuji? This one, I repeat again. Imagine I am the purchase manager. Okay, I'm the purchase manager of the company. And as a purchase manager of the company, okay, I have to select one vendor. Okay, I have to compare the performances of two vendors, let's say. Okay. So I've got two vendors, vendor A and vendor B. Now their qualities at par, equivalent. Their prices are also equivalent. Okay. Only factor which is impacting is the delivery time. What I'll do is I will collect the delivery time data. Now, hypothesis testing is prediction of the behavior of the long term or the population, right? So I will collect the data of vendor A and vendor B. So vendor A is showing 10 days delivery. On an average, the vendor A is showing 10 days delivery. Okay, so this is what I presented. First scenario. And vendor B is showing 11 days on an average. So I just put those 30 data points of vendor A, 30 data points of vendor B in the histogram where the average is 10 and 11. So histogram looks like this. The overlapping histogram looks like this, where almost 60% of the total area is, if both these area are 100%, 60% area is overlapping with each other, on each other. Okay. So 60% is nothing but 0.6, 60%, 60 divided by 100, no? When 60 divided by 100 is equal to 0.6. So that overlapping area is nothing but our P value. Are you understanding? So when my overlapping area is greater than 5, greater than 5%, that means there is no statistical significance. They're very close. See, when they're very close, the overlapping area will be high, right? When they are far away, their overlapping area will reduce. Yes or no? Madhuji, are you understanding? Yes. Now imagine the second scenario. The vendor A is having 10 average, vendor B is having 15 average. So they are far away from each other, where overlapping area is just 3% in the second scenario. 3% meaning 0.03. My p value is 0.03. So that means I can confidently say that there is a statistically significant difference. I will select vendor number A. How many of you clear now with this practical example? This practical example, right? When there is so in the first scenario, I will not be confident in comparison because this example is not proving that there is no statistical significant difference. Okay. But in the second scenario, it is clearly evident that vendor A is delivering faster than vendor B, and it is statistically significant difference in between these two vendors. Yes, good, fantastic. Chalo, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Let's go ahead to the next part, which is okay. Let me go back to the table. Let me go back to the table of this. Okay, so we have covered one sample t-test, two sample t-test, paired t-test, and ANOVA. Okay, now let's focus on the variability. Now we are comparing the variability of two entities or two processes, etc. Okay, so first we check the F ratio test, and then we will go for test of equal variances. Okay, now, okay, so for the F ratio test, let me see. Yeah, so this is all given: one sample T, two sample T. So this, you can see here, all the, screenshots also are given in your case. Okay, like this. Okay, screenshots are given, then all the result also compare. You can read out those results. And I've explained you in the video as well, in the, in the course content. And ANOVA, they have explained this, what is ANOVA, and, with example, with screenshots. And now we are talking about the variability, which is, first we will check the F ratio test. Okay. So this is basically taking the F distribution. F distribution. Okay. So what is F distribution? Basically, F distribution is nothing but the the proportion or the ratio of two variances. Variance of one entity divided by variance of second entity. That is called F distribution. Let me give you a practical example so that you will understand. See, a random sample of, understand this, understand one example so that you will get to know this. Random sample of 12 and 16s are drawn from two populations. The sample standard deviations are found to be 145 and 82. So what they have done is, from two population, from two groups, they have drawn, first they have drawn 12 samples. In the second group, they have drawn 16 samples. The S1 is standard deviation. Standard deviation of the first group of 12 is coming to 145, and standard deviation of second group is coming to 82. Okay. So they just want to check whether any statistical significant difference between these two groups. Okay. So null hypothesis is population variance is equal, and alternate is saying is population variance is not equal. Okay. So let's do one thing. We will find out how we can test that. So everybody open any Minitab, the same Minitab, ANOVA wala hi open karo. The same Minitab worksheet we will open. Open the same Minitab worksheet. Okay, go to stat, basic statistics. Test of two variances. Okay. Everybody follow this? Stat, basic statistics, test of two variances. Everybody with me? Go to stat, basic statistics, two variances. You will find two variances here. Click on that. Now, here, just drop down. Just drop down on this. And there are multiple options. Both samples are in one column. Now, we don't have data, right? We don't have data. we just have the standard deviation. So here, select the sample standard deviation. Because we have standard deviations with her, just select sample standard deviation. Okay. Now here, sample 1. What is the size? 12. Okay. What is the standard deviation? 145. Just make a note of this. Sample 2, size is 16 and standard deviation is 82. As per given in the example given to us, first sample size is 12 and standard deviation is 145. Second sample size is 16 and standard deviation is 82. So different sample sizes also can work here. It's not required like 12 and 12 only has to be there. So sample size can be varying. Okay, no problem. And just say okay. Here, just have to check the p-value. What is p-value saying? P-value is 0.043. Very, very slight difference. Very, very small difference between 0.05 and 0.04. But still, difference is difference, right? So we can say that P low, null go. So we have to reject null hypothesis. All right. In the hypothesis testing, let me tell you, there is nothing called except alternate. Huh? Understand this. In the traditional hypothesis testing, they always say reject null, and fail to reject null. There is no except null alternate hypothesis. Okay. So either you say reject null hypothesis or you say fail to reject null hypothesis. So in this case, P low, null go, that means you reject null hypothesis. In the authentic hypothesis testing, there is nothing called except alternate. We say fail to reject. Are you clear? Fail to reject null. So we only discuss about null. Reject null or fail to reject null. In this case, we reject null hypothesis. That means there is a statistical significant difference between two variances. Are you clear with this? Between two variances, there is a statistical significant difference. Clear hai everybody? I'll give you example on this, which I love to give. Okay. The example is one day, Rishabh, KL, what you can say? Ajit Agarkar and Gautam Gambhir. Gautam Gambhir, who is Indian cricket coach, and Ajit Agarkar, who is head selector. And they were discussing that who should be our wicketkeeper batsman. So they had two options, KL Rahul and they had Rishabh Pant. Who would you take? Type in the chat box. In the one day cricket international, one day cricket, who would you take? KL Rahul or Rishabh Pant? Type in the chat box. अरे कैसे भाई डेटा तो देखो. First we will check the data. Don't I like Rishabh Pant, so I will go for Rishabh. I like KL also. No bhai, no. First check the data. So what they will do? So they will collect the data of last 30 data points or 30 matches. Okay. Let's say average, which is mean. Mean of KL Rahul is, let's say 40 runs. Mean of Rishabh Pant is also 40 runs. Okay. So both will, Agarkar and Gambhir will, look at each other and they're, both are working well. So then Agarkar will say, let's go for standard deviation or variance. Or let's call it a standard deviation just to make simple. Now, KL Rahul's standard deviation is 5 runs and Rishabh Pant's standard deviation is 20 runs. So if I draw a histogram of KL Rahul, it will look like this. And if I draw what you can say, Rishabh Pant's histogram, it will look like this. And this is 40 runs. Average is 40. X bar is 40. This is Rahul. And this is Pant. That means the variation of Rishabh Pant is very high. That's why standard deviation is 20 runs. And variation of Rahul is very low. That's why standard deviation is only 5. Now tell me, who would you select? Type in the chat box. Who would you select? Yes. Obviously, the person who is more consistent, right? So whenever you will, put KL Rahul into batting, you will be at least assured that on an average, he will score between 35 to 45 runs. But in case of Rishabh Pant, you will not be sure that he will sometimes get out in 10 runs and sometimes he'll make 50, 60 runs. But there will be inconsistency in the performances. And that is reflecting. That is what the comparison of standard deviation of variances comes into picture. Are you clear the practical application? If you want to compare the variation of the performances, you go for test of two variances. If you have two entities, two processes, two people, two machines, two departments, two shifts to compare, you can check test of two variances. Clear hai? Application clear with the simple example of KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant. Clear hai na? Very good. See, you also think about where can I apply in my process and do this application. Don't just learn theoretically. Apply in your own example, own process, own data. That will give you more confidence. Okay. Let's move to the next. Now, if I have 3 wicket keepers, now I have KL Rahul, Rishabh Pant and Sanju Samson. Then what do I do? In that case, let me show you the table. Let me show you the table. So you can see here. Oops. Huh. So, yes, whenever there are two groups to be compared, that is called F ratio test, which we have seen just now. When you have got more than two, like 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., then go for test of equal variance. More than two groups, go for test of equal variance. Okay. So let me share with you a file of test of equal variances. मैं एक फाइल शेयर करता हूं आपके साथ. This is the same file which we have used for ANOVA. If you observe very closely, this is the same file we have used for ANOVA. Remember Mercedes zone, Mercedes service center wale zone, 5 zones were there, correct? We compare for ANOVA. But in ANOVA, we compare the averages. Here for the same data, we will compare the variances of 5 data points. Okay. Just open the file. Or if you have the same old file of ANOVA, we can open the same file as well. That is also okay. Let me also open. Once you have opened it, let me know in the chat box that you have opened it. Test of equal variances. Okay, the name of the file is test of equal variances. Okay. Done. Let me share the screen as well. Very good. Other people also please confirm so that we can proceed. File same hai. If you observe. Okay, team A and lead time. That's it. Similar kind of, like our Mercedes-Benz wala showroom. This is, maybe file is different, but the same scenario. Understand this. Okay. There are 5 groups. Earlier we compared the mean. Now we are comparing the variances. So the null hypothesis will be like this. Variance meaning S1 square. So this is S1 square. So null hypothesis will say that S1 square is equal to S2 square is equal to S3 square up to S5 square. Correct? And alternate hypothesis will say that at least one variance is not equal to each other. Okay, that is where the test of equal variance comes into picture. Okay, so let's go ahead and check the test of equal variances. Now you go to stat ANOVA. Again, you go to the same ANOVA. And here you will find test of equal variances. Okay. Stat ANOVA, test of equal variances. Select that. In the response, you have the lead time. And the factor, you have the team. And say, okay. Wow. Look at this. So here, you have to check multiple comparisons, p-value greater than 0.05. So p is high. So there is no statistical significant difference between the variances of these 5 elements. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Clear hai? Everybody with me? Just give me yes in the chat box. But if I do the ANOVA, उसका ANOVA करके देखो. I just did that. Okay, ये थोड़ा सा अलग फाइल है. It's a similar file, but इसका अलग फाइल है. But ANOVA meaning the comparison of the means. It is showing statistical significant difference, which is 0.035. Just उसका ANOVA करके देखो. Go to stat, basic statistics, stat ANOVA, one way ANOVA. Okay. Just करके देखो एक बार. You will find ANOVA मतलब we have done that, right? X1 bar is equal to X2 bar is equal to X3 bar, etc. Correct? Up to X5 bar. Now, this is null hypothesis. And what is alternate hypothesis? At least one X is not equal to each, either of these. So we'll go for the stat ANOVA, one way ANOVA, put response with lead time and a factor in team and say okay. And you will find there is a difference. Okay, so data is a little different than the earlier one, but still, if you see there is a statistical significant difference, you can see the p-value which is 0.35, 0.035. Clear hai? So mean में variation है, but variances में variation नहीं है. Are you understanding this? Just type yes in the chat box. In this case, the averages are different, statistically significantly different, but not the variances. Clear, everybody? Just type yes in the chat box. Very good, very good. Super. Amazing, amazing. Okay, so clear hai? F ratio test and test of equal variance clear? Yes, yes, no? So all the explanations have been given to you. Now let's move to the next one, which is proportion hypothesis, which is test of two proportions. So here let's take a simple case and understand this. So a corporation's purchase manager need to authorize, okay, 20 photocopy machines. They want to purchase the photocopy, like Xerox machines, for example. Okay. So after comparing many brands in terms of price, quality, warranty, other features, he narrowed down to the two brands, X brand and a Y brand. Okay. So he has narrowed down to X and Y brand. Now, because the corporation is already using both brands, okay, it's a big corporation, बहुत बड़ा MNC company है. So they already have 50 machines of each brand. Understand this? So because they already have the X and Y brand, already 50 machines were already placed in various locations. So they pulled out the data, okay, and they found that 6 of brand X and 8 of brand Y machines needed servicing. So out of 50, so let me write down here, out of 50, let's say X brand, out of 50, 6 machines require servicing. That means 44 machines are running okay. And for Y brand, 42 machines are running okay out of 50. Are you clear with this? So we are comparing the two proportions here. So we want to check whether X proportion and Y branch proportion, is there any statistical significant difference between these two proportions? Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Scenario समझ में आया? So purchase manager has two brands, X machine and Y machine, and they take some data. So 44 machines are working fine out of 50, and 42 machines are working fine for brand number Y. Okay, brand Y. They want to check the proportion, which is 44 divided by 50 and 42 divided by 50. Is there a statistical significant difference or not? Okay, correct? So how do we do that? Let's go to stat basic statistics to proportion. Everybody just do this. Go to stat basic statistics to proportion. And then just put the data like this. So first trial is, you click on summarize data. First trial is 50, out of which 44 events are there. 44 are running well. And the second out of 50, 42 was running well. Okay. Select that and click OK. You can do it in the same Minitab file as well. Okay. Same Minitab file में भी आप कर सकते हो. Go to stat. Basic statistics. Correct? Test of two proportion. Everybody? So summarize data में जाएंगे. Number of events कितने थे? 44 in the first event and number of trials are 50. In the second sample, 42 events the or number of samples the 50. Okay, just click on OK. Once you click on OK, you will find the p-value at the bottom of this. Just check the p-value here, which is 0.564. So the null p-value is higher, greater than 0.05. So we fail to reject null hypothesis. So there is no statistical significant difference between proportion brand X and proportion of band Y. Clear hai? So both proportion, there is no statistical significant difference. Everybody got it? Just type yes, no in the chat box. Give me yes quickly. Very good, very good, very good. Simple. Now let's move to something very interesting called chi-square test. Okay, now when you want to compare more than two proportions, that is called chi-square test. Okay. So what is chi-square test? When you have more than two proportions to compare, like for example, 3 shifts. You want to compare the 3 shifts data. Okay. So let me explain you the scenario here. The scenario is, we want to know if the shift has the influence on the proportion complaints. Okay. Or defects, you can say complaints or the defects per shift. So they have got multiple shifts, 3 shifts, and they have got multiple types of defects. In that case, they will go for chi-square test. Okay, let's find out a table here. First, let's understand the scenario. First, understand the data. Then we will do it in the Minitab. Okay. Now, so step 1 is tabulate the data in the defect generated with corresponding shifts. Okay, let's understand the data. So on this case, there is shift 1, 2, and 3. A shift, B shift, C shift. And these are the defect. Okay. Let's say, for example, defect A, defect B, defect C, and defect D. So total 4 types of defects are there. All right. And in the first shift, for A type of defect, we found 15 defect. B type of defect, we found 21 defect. Okay. C type of defect, we found 45, and D type of defect, we found 13. Similarly, each shift, what type of defect they have corrected the data. Clear, everybody? Have you understood the data? Shift-wise, defect-wise data they have collected in this table. Clear hai? Just give me yes in the chat box. Okay. Now, what is the next step? Step number 2 is called it's to find out expected value. Now, what is expected value? Expected value is nothing but row total. Understand this. Row total multiplied by column total divided by grand total. Now, let's understand what is row total. Okay. First, we collect the data in the tabular format. Then we calculate the expected value. Okay. Now, understand this. We do not have to do this manually. But because we are learning this concept, we will do this manually, and then we will go for Minitab. Okay. What is expected row total meaning? This one. Okay. This one. 15 plus 21 plus 45 plus 31. If I add them together, it is coming to 94. This is called row total. And what is column total? Column total meaning, so now we are calculating expected value for this. So horizontal is a row total and vertical is the column total. So 15 plus 26 plus 33, the column total is 74. Are you clear about row total and column total? Just like yes. For this value, this cell count 15, row total is 94 and column total is 74. Clear? And what is grand total? Grand total is all the row totals summation or all the column total summation. It is called grand total, and both will actually the same, right? So let's do one thing. Let's pull out your calcs, calculate the expected value for 15, where the row total is, let me write down, row total is 94. Pull out the calculator and calculate this, guys, for me. Multiply by column total is 74 in bracket divided by grand total 309. Can you just tell me the value of this in the chat? 94 multiplied by 74 divided by 309. Can you give me the value here? 22.551. ऐसा कुछ तो है? 22.51, something like that. Everybody got the similar kind of value? Yes, okay. Thank you, Divakar ji. Thank you, Ranjan ji, for confirming. I'm not calculating, I'm just relying, and all of you are getting the same value. So 22.51 will be the expected value for this. So similarly, they will calculate for all these values. Okay, they will calculate expected values. Okay, let's go to the next part. So similarly here, again, this is the confirmation, 22.51, the same value they have also got. Now here you can see they have calculated for 15, the expected value was 22.51. For 26, the expected value was 22.9. For 33, the expected value was 28.5, and so on and so forth. So they have calculated for each and every data point in the table. Okay. Now they will calculate the chi value. What is the chi-square value? Chi-square value is nothing but summation of observed minus expected divided by expected. Let just for one example. So 15. Let's look at this example. Look at this example. What is chi-square? Look at this example which we calculated. Actual value was 15 minus the expected value calculated was 22.51. Okay. So 15 minus 22.51 raised to square divided by 22.51. Okay. And they will continue the same for all the data points. And once we sum it up, we will get a value called 19.18. And there is a chi-square table, because chi-square distribution ka table aata hai. If we take this value of chi-square, go to the table, we can find out the p-value of that. Okay. So now this is the entire scenario which happens at the back end, but we don't have to do this manually. let's do this with the help of Minitab. Okay. So I'm just sharing with you a chi-square test ka example file. Okay. The same file which I've just shown you. I'm just sharing this file with you guys. Okay. Open this file of chi-square test. Once you open this file, let me know in the chat box. Opened, everybody? Just give me yes so that we can see how chi-square test is done with the help of Minitab. Okay, let me share my screen as well. Opened, everybody? I'm just waiting for you. Okay, done. Very good. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so this is a table. So it's the same data. If you observe here, we will just consider this data. The same data which we saw on the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. How do we go about it? Go to stat. There's a different process here. Stat tables, cross tabulation, and chi-square. Just observe this. Stat table, cross tabulation, and chi-square. Okay. Stat में fourth last option is tables, cross tabulation, and chi-square. Just click on that. This will appear. Okay. Now here we have to select. There are two options here. Raw data in the categorical variable, and second option is summarize data in the two-way table. Because we have the summarized data in the two-way table, just select summarize data in two-way table. Everybody with me, just type yes in the chat box. I repeat again, go to stat, tables, cross tabulation, and chi-square. In the drop down menu, just select summarize data in the two-way table. Okay. Once you click on this, you will get A, B, C, D as columns containing in the table. All right. Select A, B, C, D. Double click on that. A, B, C, and D. Just double click on that. It will get selected. And in the rows here, in the rows, you select the shift. Shift, not shift number. Shift number is a different column. Column number 1 को नहीं करना है. Shift column, which is C4 column. C4 column shift को select करना. Double click on C4 column shift. And make sure you have in the display, you have count, which is selected. Okay. Everybody with me yahan tak? So in the column containing the table, ABCD select करना है. In the rows, shift को select करना है. Count को select करना है यहाँ पे. Go to chi-square and just check the box of chi-square test. Check the box of chi-square test and check the box of expected cell count as well. Expected meaning whatever we have calculated, 22.51. Okay. So वो भी उसमें आ जाएगा. And say okay. And say okay. Let's go to the sessions window and scroll it up. You will say the chi-square tabulated statistic, the same thing, whatever we have calculated manually. You can see here, this is the actual value. Let me just quickly explain this. So here, what is the null hypothesis here? Null hypothesis is the proportion defect or defect proportion of shift A is equal to defect proportion of shift B and up to shift D. Okay. And alternate hypothesis is defect proportion of shift A is not equal to defect proportion of shift B and so on and so forth. Okay. This is the null and alternate hypothesis. So here, this is the actual value 15 and this is the expected value 22.5. Okay. What do you want me to repeat? I'll repeat again. Go to stat, tables, cross tabulation chi-square. You select summarize data in two-way table. Column में select A, B, C, D. Rows में select shift. Count by default check होगा. Just make sure count is checked. Go to chi-square. यहाँ पे chi-square option है. Chi-square में जाइए. In the chi-square option, just make sure there is a chi-square test is checked and expected cell count is checked. If you don't check expected cell count, वो expected cell count आपको नहीं दिखाएगा. It will not make a huge difference. Okay. But because we have calculated manually, we just will check it. Okay. Click on OK and click on OK and you will get this table. Okay. Now this is all table which we have already seen. What is the most important is Pearson chi-square value, which is 0.004. In this case, it is clearly evident that P value is lower than 0.05. So P low null go. So we have to reject null hypothesis. That means the proportion defective, there is a statistical significant difference. And you can see here. You can see logically here as well. First, you have A shift. First shift, you have 94 defects. Second shift, you have 96 defect. The third shift has got 119 defect. So actually the culprit shift is the third shift or the night shift. So we have to put some more efforts, put some more vigilance, put some more, eyes on the night shift over there. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Because in the night shift, we get clearly evident that the proportion defective is very high compared to the other two shifts. That's why the null hypothesis is failing here. Clear hai? Everybody's clear? Just give me yes in the chat box. Yes, no, yes, no. Fantabulous, guys. Super. Amazing. So this is what the advanced hypothesis testing is there covered in the black belt curriculum. Okay. So what we'll do, we will take, it is 8:30 right now. We'll take a quick 10 minutes break. We'll be back by 8:40 and we will talk about the quick about regression, basic regression, and then we'll go for the advanced regression, multiple regression today. Clear? Okay, just give me yes in the chat box. We'll be back by 8:40 sharp. Okay, enjoy your break, grab your coffee, and come back exactly at 8:40. Okay, I'll be waiting for you. Okay, everybody's back. If you're back on your seat, just give me the confirmation that I am back so that we can start our next part, which is regression, correlation, and advanced regression. Just give me, I am back or yes in the chat box so that we will start the session. Super. Thank you very much. Remaining people, hope they are, I think they have not yet reached to their desk. Okay, fantastic. Chalo, I think so. We have got some confirmations. Chalo. So now let's talk about the correlation and regression. Let me share a quick, the basic, uh, where is that? Yeah, scatter plot. Okay. Just open this file. हम लोग एक बार क्विक रिवाइज कर लेंगे correlation and regression को, and then we'll go for the advanced regression part. Okay. Open this file called scatter plot. Everybody, once you open the file, let me know in the chat box. Once you open, let me know. Done? Yes? Very good. Remaining people, give me the confirmation. Done. Okay. Let's try to understand. So we have got a simple data of X and Y, and we want to compare this. So the basic correlation is, see what is correlation and what is regression. So we do a scatter plot. Scatter plot is nothing but correlation. And there are three major types of correlation you will find. One is positive correlation. If you see something like this, where X and Y, they are positively correlated. That means X is also increasing, Y is also increasing proportionately. Okay. There is another trend called X and Y, which is called negative. So this is positive. This is negative correlation where X is increasing, Y is proportionately decreasing. Okay. And there is another trend which is where X and Y, they show no relationship with each other. So there is no relationship. So these are three major trends in simple linear regression. And that we can find out with the help of scatter plot. Positive correlation example, X is time for study and Y is percentage marks scored. X is study time and Y is percentage marks scored. So more you study, more percentage marks will be scored. It's a direct positive correlation. What is negative correlation example? X is time spent on social media, Facebook, Instagram, okay, etc. Correct? So more time spent on social media, less marks you will score. It's a negative correlation. X is greater, Y is lower. And no correlation meaning traffic of Mumbai and you arriving on your at your office at Bangalore, there is no correlation. It's called no correlation, right? So positive, negative, and no correlation. These are the three scenarios. Let's find out which scenario is here in this case. Let's go to graph and scatter plot is the first option itself. Select that. Simple by default है. X में X को सिलेक्ट करो, Y में Y को सिलेक्ट करो and say click OK. And this kind of scenario you will see. Everybody got this kind of scenario? Just type yes in the chat box. What kind of relationship can you see? Is it a positive? Is it a negative? Or is it no correlation? Give me the confirmation. Okay, what is that? Everybody, I want everybody's answer. Can you see a positive trend going? X is going up, Y is going up. Yes or no? And this is called scatter plot. It's a positive correlation between two factors, X variable and a Y variable. Now there is one very important, very important insight. Let me share with you. The insight is, make a note of this. Correlation does not always equal to causation. I'll explain you. Write this down. Correlation does not always equals causation. What does it mean? इसका मतलब है, if there are two data sets, if I put them in the software and software will give me the trend, that does not always mean that X, whatever the movement of Y is happening, is because of X. Are you understanding this? Just type yes in the chat box. Are you understanding this? Correlation is just that these two factors are positively or negatively correlated with each other. That does not always mean इसका रीजन X ही है. To confirm the causation. Causation meaning what? What is causation? Causation meaning Y is equal to function of X. Remember that? That is causation. This is causation. Y is equal to function of X. Y is depending on X. X is a reason of Y. X is cause of Y. That is causation. But correlation does not always mean causation. Okay? It may mean causation, but does not always mean. To identify, this causation, you have to have a very strong domain knowledge. You have to have the process knowledge of this. Only data को देख के आप नहीं कह सकते. Okay, very important point for our understanding. Okay, so this is the basic correlation. Let's find out the basic regression. The same data. Let's find out regression. Go to stat, regression, fitted line plot. Let's do this. Stat, regression, fitted line plot. See, I'm just revising whatever we have seen in the green belt itself. Okay. Y में Y को select करो, X में X को select करो, say okay. And along with the same graph. So if you see here, let me make these both graphs a little smaller. These both graphs actually are the same graphs. This is correlation and this is regression. In regression, there are three parts which are extra. This is called line of best fit. This is called regression equation and R square value. If R square is greater than 65%, it can show a very strong correlation between X and Y. If it is greater, now in this case, it is 83.2, which shows that there is a very strong relationship between X and Y. Clear, everybody? This was covered in the green belt level. Everybody remember this? Correlation, regression basics. Just give me yes in the chat box. All the new members, this is a part of green belt which I just covered. But because we are in the black belt hackathon, let me go one step further. ठीक है? एक step ऊपर जाएंगे now. Whatever we have shown, this is called as linear regression model. Y is equal to F. Y is equal to A plus BX. This is called early, regression equation. Correct? Y is equal to A plus BX. Or some people say MX plus C. Both are same thing. Okay. A is what? Intercept. If I what you can say, if I extend this line where that line is cutting my Y axis, that becomes my intercept A. And what is the B? B is nothing but a slope. Okay. What is B? What is the change in Y with 1 unit change in X? It's called slope. I repeat again. what is the change in y with 1 unit change in x. अगर मैं x को 1 unit बढ़ाता हूं, मेरा y कितना आगे बढ़ता है, ऊपर या नीचे, that is called as slope. In this case, it is 2.4, meaning if I change x by 1 unit, my y will change by 2.4 unit positive direction because it is positive. Clear? Y is equal to a plus bx. This is just a revision of green belt. Clear hai? And this is called linear equation. Everybody with me? Just give me yes in the chat box. This is just a quick revision. Now let's move to, let me go to advanced version of this one, regression. Okay. Let's go back to the advanced version. Just download this file, open this file quickly. The name of the file is called curvilinear. Let's understand the other linear models. Other regression models. Okay, open the file of curvilinear regression. Once you open the file, let me know in the chat box that you are ready. Let me explain you that file as well. Ready? Done, 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 done. Okay. I'm just getting confirmation from Divakar ji. Where are the other people? Give me yes, yes, yes. Open, ready. Very good. Fantastic. Let's try to understand this. Now we have got a data of patients. How many patients data we have? Almost 100. Okay. We have almost 100 patients data here. And their comfort zone, comfort on the scale of 1 to 10. Okay. After giving them some dosage in mg, milligram dosage ka there is some medicine, and after that medicine dosage, what is the comfort level? That is what they have tested. Okay, let's go for regression first. Okay, go to stat, regression, fitted line plot. Now what is our response? What is our y output? Kya hai isme? Type in the chat box. What will be our output here and what will be our input? What will be our output? Is it dosage or is it comfort? Or is it patient? What is our output? Type in the chat box. What is our response? Why? Comfort. Very good. So double click on comfort. And what is our predictor X? Predictor X is nothing but dosage. Clear? And regression model is linear. Select as it is. Say okay. And you will get similar kind of regression. Everybody got this? Where the R square value is 1.5. And this is a regression model and line of best fit. Everything we have got. But if you see here, if you see the data is showing some different trend here. Data is showing something called curvilinear trend. What is curvilinear? As the dosage was increasing from 20 up to 30, you can see some comfort going up. But as the dosage increase from 30 towards 40, the comfort is going down. So it is called curvilinear regression. Are you understanding this? Just type yes in the chat box. Can you see this curvature? Correct? And that is the reason. I'll give you another example. The rice production of the country or of the state rice production and the rainfall. State rice production and the rainfall. So as the rainfall increases, the rice production increases because rice production requires more rainfall, right? But as the rainfall exceeds certain norms, the rice production starts dropping down because whatever the optimum level of rainfall is required, if it exceeds, then those crops may die as well. Okay. So again, this is called a curvilinear regression. Clear, everybody? Yes, no? So this is called, first we linear regression kiya. Now let's go back again to the same dialog box, which is Control E. Okay, if you want to go back again, you can just press Control E. You will come to edit last dialog box. Okay. Now instead of linear, select quadratic. Select quadratic. Okay, select quadratic. Just click on quadratic and click on OK. Wow, there is something very interesting here. Can you see the difference? Everybody got this? You go to Control E. Instead of linear, you select quadratic. Quadratic equation has square terms in it. I'll explain you. But see the difference. Earlier, we had only a linear model like this, a linear line of best fit, and our R square value was very low. Now our R square value is very close to 69.9%. That's greater than 65% is a very good fit, right? Correct? And now what is the difference? Now let me explain you. Let's go for the third one as well. Let's go back again to Control E. Now instead of quadratic, go for cubic and say okay. Now you will see similar kind of trend. Okay, now let me just quickly put all the three diagrams together. Okay, ये दोनों को मैं रखता हूं. And this one is the third one, which is linear. Linear का ज्यादा काम नहीं है. Linear we have seen, so linear को मैं छोटा कर देता हूं. Linear को मैं बंद कर देता हूं. Okay. Now see the quadratic and cubic. All right. There is not much difference between quadratic and cubic model. Only 69.9 and 70. So both model are showing a very good fit. Correct? But what is the difference between linear, quadratic, and cubic? Write this down. Write this down. So linear equation is y is equal to a plus bx. Quadratic equation is y is equal to a plus b1x plus b2x square. Write this down. A plus b1x plus b2x square. This is x. And what is cubic? Cubic equation is y is equal to a plus b1x plus b2x square plus b3x cube. Cube terms are there, that is called cubic. Square terms are there, that's what it's called quadratic. 2 raised to 2 is 4, na? That's what quadratic. And linear, it's a simple equation, simple linear, y is equal to a plus bx. Write this down. Are you clear? So whichever model fits the best, whichever has the highest R square value, that model we have to select. Are you clear? Just type yes in the chat box. Are you clear with this? Linear we have already covered in the green belt level. I have already done one example of linear. Y is equal to a plus bx. A is nothing but the slope. Correct? B is nothing but, A is nothing but the intercept. B is nothing but the slope. Same goes here as well. only a plus b1x plus b2x square. Cubic is a plus b1x plus b2x square plus b3x cube. b1, b2, b3 are different slopes because this is the curvature. So one will be like this, second will be a plateau, third will be like this. So there are three slopes here. That's why this curvature, different slopes are counted. And software will calculate, you need not to calculate it manually. Clear hai? This is called advanced regression, which is quadratic and cubic regression models. Okay. Now let's go ahead. Now still it is one-on-one, no? Dosage and comfort. 1x and 1y. What about 1y and multiple x's? Like for example, let's say test of tea. Test of tea is depending on sugar, milk, water, tea powder and all these things. Can I do it? Can I do 1y and multiple x's? Can I do that kind of regression model? Yes, we can do that. How we can do that? That is called matrix plot. Okay. Let me share a matrix plot file with you. The name of the file is stamping matrix plot. Download this file. Once you open the file, let me know in the chat. Any question, any doubt, please let me know in the chat so that I can address those questions. And if you have not understood anything, don't hesitate to ask the question. We are here to clarify the doubts. Okay. See, I'm not covering the green belt stuff again. A lot of new members are there. They might find a little difficult because green belt stuff will be covered in the green belt hackathon or in the, in our Saturdays and Monday sessions. It is already there in the pre-recorded videos as well. Okay. So in the hackathon, we only focus on the very important topics of the black belt. All right. Open this. Very good. Let's first try to understand the data. सबने open किया है? Just give me yes. Very good. Very good. Super. First, try to understand the data here. Now here, this company, they have collected the data of defect fraction. Defect fraction is nothing but what is the defect percentage in that particular shift. Let's say, for example, okay. So 0.041 meaning 4.1% defect. Okay. 0.0425 meaning 4.25% defect in that particular shift. Out of 100, 4.25% was defect. Okay. Now, this is our Y. This is our output. And what are the input factor variables we have? The tool aging. So this is by X1, temperature of the process or the machine. X2, the speed of the machine. X3, experience of the people. X4. These are the four factors. Okay, so here Y is equal to function of X1, X2, X3 and X4. And we want to check whether there is a correlation between these factors and our Y. So rather than doing it one by one, so we can do it one by one as well, like we have done in our linear models, etc. Instead of that, we can do something else that is called matrix plot. Okay. So instead of that, what we'll do, everybody understood the data, right? Data understood? Data समझ में आया है? Just give me yes in the chat box. Okay, let's go to something called matrix plot. Go to graph. And in the second option, there is something called matrix plot. Select that quickly. Graph matrix plot. Once you select matrix plot, you will come to this. Just select simple matrix plot. Now here, this is very interesting. How you need to basically select the variables. Okay. So how do we select the variable? It is like this. X1, then X2, then X3, then X4, and then Y. See, you can change the sequence x1, x2, x3 का sequence change सकते हो, लेकिन first all the x's and then the y. Clear? So let's do this. Let's select this. Select graph variable. First, we will select tool aging. Then we'll select temperature. Then we'll select speed. Then we'll select experience. And last, we will select defect fraction. Clear, everybody? Just give me yes in the chat box. Selection हो गया बराबर से x1, x2, x3, x4 and then the y defect fraction. Now go to matrix option. Don't click on OK. Go to matrix option and select lower left. Select matrix option. In the matrix display, select lower left. Now click on OK and click on OK. Okay, what you need to do is go to matrix option, select lower left here. Okay, click on OK and then click on OK. You will find this. Everybody got this? Just type yes, no in the chat box. Very good. Fantabulous. Amazing. Got it? Well, fantastic. Now, let's try to use this. Okay. Now, what we have to look at, graph number 1. How to select X. एक मिनट बताता हूं मैं आपको. First of all, let's go back to the data. X क्या क्या है यहां पे? This is X, this is X, this is X and this is X. Okay, tool aging, temperature, speed and experience are the X's. Correct, Vishal ji? Then we go to stat. No, go to graph and matrix plot. Select simple, click on OK. Now, first we have to select, like, let's say if I remove this, first I will select X1, which is tool aging. Double click on X1. Then I will double click on temperature. Then I will double click on speed. Then I will double click on experience. So X1, then X2, then X3 and X4. After that, I will double click on my Y, which is defect fraction. Clear? So first X1, then X2, then X3, then X4, and then Y. Clear hai? Then click on, yeah. Once it is done, then go to matrix option and select lower left and say OK. And say OK, you will get the graph. Okay, now let's try to decode this graph. Have you got this, all these kinds of graphs with you? Yes, very good. Now what do we do with this? Understand this. First, we have to observe this row, defect fraction wala row. Okay. So the first graph at the bottom, मैं bottom के 4 graph देख रहा हूँ. I'm just observing the 4 graphs of this, this entire matrix, bottom 4. So look at this first graph. Okay. This first graph is between tool aging and the defect fraction. Now, is it positive correlation or the negative correlation? Type in the chat box. I've just written first graph, right? Is it positive or negative? Type in the chat box. Positive correlation. Now understand this. Let me draw something interesting. Okay. If you have data like this, scattered like this, okay, even though it is a positive relationship, it is moderate positive. What is that? Moderate positive correlation. Where my R square value will be around maybe, 40 or 50%. There is something called strong positive correlation where it will be like this. Like for example, the second observation, second graph or the third graph. Can you see here? The third graph is the graph between temperature and defect fraction. Can you see a very thin line? When the line is thin, that is called very strong positive correlation. Strong positive correlation where my R square value will be 90 or 95%. Are you understanding this? Just type yes in the chat box. So first graph is moderate positive. It is positive correlation, but moderate positive. Second and third are very, very strong positive correlation. What about the fourth graph? What about the graph number 4 here? Type in the chat box. What is the relationship? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it no correlation? Yes, everybody? No correlation. Now just observe this. This is the relationship between experience and the defect fraction. Now this is the eye opener for all of us. How many times we believe that more the experienced people, less will be the defect? Yes or no? How many of you believe this? How many of you believe this? More experienced people, less will be the defect. New people, young people, or, less experienced people, there will be more defect. Yes. But this graph is not suggesting that. This graph is not supporting your hypothesis. And this is what I always say. Don't assume anything. Just collect the data. Tell me one thing. Once we have the data, how much time do we require to do this analysis? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, yes or no? Collect the data and put it in the software. We have the Genie software with us. Just quickly put in the software. Don't assume anything. Even if it is so logical and clear, don't assume. Just check. Are you clear with this point I'm driving here? Just type yes in the chat box. Very, very important point, guys. समझ में आया ये? Very, very important. Don't assume anything. Experience and, there obviously will be more experience, less. So ideally, you were expecting negative correlation. More the experience, less will be defect. Yes or no? So as experience goes up, defect goes down. So you were expecting a negative correlation, but data is showing no correlation. So defect, can be made by experienced people as well. Clear hai? So in one shot, we can get all the, what you can say, correlation diagrams in one shot. This is called matrix plot. Are you clear with this? Just type yes in the chat box. Are you clear? Just give me yes. Matrix plot clear hai? Very good. How do we get the equation out of this? From where we get the equation? Okay. So to get the equation, go to stat, regression, fit regression model. There are two regressions here. Stat, regression, fit regression model. Can you just follow this path, please? We will find out the equation. Stat, regression, fit regression model. Select fit regression model. This window will appear. What is our response? Response is our defect fraction. Double click on our response. And what are our continuous predictors? Just click on tool aging, temperature, speed. Now, because experience does not have an impact, if you want to drop experience, you can do that. Clear, everybody? Because experience does not have any impact on our, on our output variable. So if you want to drop this from the model, you can do that. So in this case, I have only selected 3 and I have not selected experience, and I click on OK. Okay, everybody? with me? I repeat the procedure once again. Listen to me very carefully. I go to stat regression, and in that fitted line plot. Select fitted line plot or fit regression model. I select response made defect fraction, and in the continuous predictor, which is x's. Okay. Tool aging, temperature and speed I select. I do not select here experience because experience does not have any relationship. Okay. And I say okay, and I will get this value. Okay. Now, if you see, observe here, there is a regression equation I will find out. The regression equation is defect fraction equals to 0. Minus 0.01380, which is the intercept, plus slope of tool aging, plus slope of temperature, plus slope of speed. And this is called a regression model, which is also called a prediction equation. With this help, we can predict the value of the defect fraction. Clear? So this way we can do multiple factors in one time as well. Clear, everybody? Yes. So today we have learned advanced hypothesis testing and advanced regression, which everything will be required for tomorrow's session, which will be design of experiment. Tomorrow's session will be very, very important session, design of experimentation. Okay. So where all the basic statistics, basic hypothesis, regression, p-value, everything will be consolidated in design of experimentation, which is going to be a very, very important session tomorrow. Okay. So today, because it's very heavy, advanced hypothesis and advanced regression. So we'll stop at this point. We all know that you guys are working professionals. Already it is almost very close to 2.5 hours we are together. Okay. So we'll connect again at 7 p.m. we will recap this, whatever we have continued today. Okay. And then we'll go for design of experimentation tomorrow. Clear? Are you enjoying this? By the way, let me just get a feedback here. Are you understanding, enjoying this entire journey? You know, practical understanding, going deeper into the concepts. Yes or no? Are you getting some new knowledge, some new wisdom here? Yes, yes. So, तो ये मेहनत करने का कुछ फायदा है ना? See, understand this, guys. This is you know, if I would have given you what you can say, the recorded courses. Okay, that would have been good enough. Na? Recorded courses lo exam de do, khatam kar do. No need for taking the live sessions every week. You know, 1.5 hours, 3 घंटे का live session होता है. And every month there will be hackathon where 9 hours, almost 9 hours we sit together to speak. Ultimately, if you're not enjoying and learning this, that will not serve the purpose, right? But you guys are enjoying and learning this. That is what I was expecting. Thank you very much for the confirmation. And that's it from today. This recording will be available in Black Belt Hackathon folder. Okay. So it will be uploaded very shortly. So you will get it. And tomorrow also you will get a recorded link on your WhatsApp as well. All right. So that's it from my side. Keep learning, keep growing. This is Dinesh Patil. Thank you very much. Good night. Bye.